Hello everyone. Today I would like to continue a video series I want to make on multi-beam processing using Beamworx software, and I started the first video by showing how to import data in Autopatch and AutoClean. Today I would like to continue to show how to calculate the patch test values after you have imported your lines. So if you follow the last video, you will see that this is where we ended, where we had the data imported already into Autopatch. Just a little introduction about Autopatch. Here you see that you have very few buttons and you have all the things you can do right on the left side. So we have 6 lines. You can see the line 1, 2, 3, 4, right up to 6, and they can show you it's shown in different colors and some frequencies, positioning, heading, and altitude. So if you look right over here, it tells you combinations. It tells you that from line 1, there is a possibility to calculate roll, pitch, and heave from combination number 1. You see, so there are 12 different ways right here in which we can calculate the patch test value. So I'm just going to run through them. You can see that's another combination. So the different ways is a little bit different from other softwares whereby you run maybe 2 lines for roll and it goes somewhere else. You run 2 lines for pitch, and then you overlap the line for pitch to do heading OE or calibration. But in Beamworx, you have to run 6 lines and you have to run each line in the opposite direction and make sure you do a 50% overlap on the swath of the adjacent line, like you can see here. So this is one line, this is line, like line 1 is the red one, line 2 is the purple. You can see them, all of them, they were run. So you can open a previous project here. This is a project I'm presently working on, or whatever project you've processed, you can open them there. If you click this button, this is the magical button that you click to start the calibration. And in fact, calibration here in AutoClean is an automatic process. So here you can generate reports. You can see the number of see the number of combination you have. You can check quality here. For example, the first thing you will check is the sound velocity at the head of the transducer with respect to the value of the sound velocity at the sound velocity from the sound velocity profile. You can also check your positioning quality here. Here, the survey was not done on RTK. That's why you don't see the position quality indicator should be 4 for RTK. It should be somewhere here. And for post-MV RTK fix, there's another number, maybe 16 or something like that. Then you can check the heading quality. You can see the true heading, the crossover ground, the difference between the true heading and the crossover ground. You can see something about the heave here for each line. And you have the color code here. The COG is equals to black. This is the heave at the COG, and this is the heave measured on each line. So you have different accuracies for the pairs of the line and so on. So particularly what I will look here is mostly sound velocity at the head and the position quality. So the next thing is that if you have adjusted some parameters and you click, you have to realign again. So you have to click on this button to realign. Then you can do some adjustments. For example, if you want to adjust the sound velocity profile because you see some errors here, you have a value of -1, it is 0 because it's supposed to be 0. So just to make sure that it remains 0, I'll have to put 0 and say apply. So that it should not have any problem about that. Now you could adjust the motion latency, you can adjust the misalignment, multi-beam latency, you can adjust the multi-beam offset, starboard and forward. So all of those things you can adjust them in order to match. Here I see a value of 2, which is an adjustment for a previous run. So I'll say apply, so everything should just be 0, 0 now. So the most important thing, which we already saw during import, was the vessel setup. In the vessel setup, you have the offsets. Here we have only one offset because this data was collected using HiPack and using Nobit. and every offset was input in Nobit software, acquisition software called Nobit GUI. So it's as if it's coming from the COG, but then if you want to add more offsets, you just need to click that button and you add more offsets, and you can reprocess your data with respect to those offsets. Then you have the source of navigation, the source of motion, and you have the source of tide. And then this is the multi-beam echo sounder itself. Those are its properties, but importantly, you see that there are no patch test values. They are all 0, 0. So this is what we want to calculate. So if I click OK, now the process to compute the patch test is just a question of one click. Once you click on that button, you have everything working. So that's the good thing about Autopatch. If you run your lines properly, you are on RTK fix, your geodesy is right, you only need to click that button, Autopatch. Once you click that button, you will see calculation of role for this combination. There are 12 of them, pitch and heading, and it will do the calculation for the 12 different combinations, make an average, make a standard deviation, then you can apply it here. So just wait for the calculation to go through. So we can monitor the progress of the calculation right below here. So you can see that we are 78%, 80%. Okay, it's completed. Now it's completed. You can see the average value for 12 different row values calculated is almost stable. It's almost like 0.26, 0.26. And the pitch value and the heading value and the standard deviation to tell you the quality of your calculation. So if I click here, this is the average value here. If I say apply, once I apply, now you see that the error is gone. At first it was a cross, but now it's completely gone. All those are noises that maybe in further videos we show how to remove them. So the important thing now is that if I come and remove the tracks, you can see properly that you do not have any uh, make a cross section, you do not have any errors. So the alignment is proper, but you see some vertical offset between the lines because these lines were not collected when we were at RTK fix. But with Beamworx we can always adjust that. But then that's just the reason. But when it comes to patch testing, you have your values. So you can generate a report from that button. You can call it report, you can give the job name and all of that, and you say create report. Once you create report, it gives it a name. You can go to the desktop or wherever you want to save it on desktop first. If I minimize that, I should see the report somewhere here. So that report gives you everything. These are the names that I gave, and it tell you everything about the system. For example, sound velocity profile, computation settings, offsets, and then you have all the values for the different combination. You have line 1 versus line 2, line 1 versus line 2, and so on, line 3, 4, 5 and 6, 5 and 6. So you see 4 times for each line. So you have some screen grabs to show you the chart view, and then you have the rule alignment, you have the pitch, and you have the heading. So this is how simple is it to use Autopatch. Importantly, let me just show you some settings. Here you have data. These are automatic settings that have been default settings, of course. So these settings tell the software how to choose those patches. So you can always adjust them by pushing this button. You see here it said automatically based on seafloor features. So you can push that button. You can force it to distance along the line, and you can change the overlap parameters. So you can decide on how the lines are being cleaned. You can remove outliers. You can remove isolated clusters. You can clip mean height to 20 centimeters. That means that every noise that is above the mean surface, above 20 centimeters, is going to be cut off. So how you display the display that we see presently, we are looking at the mean surface. You can look at the shallowest, you can look at the deep, you can look at 95% confidence, and you can have a background map of Google Earth and so on and so forth. So this is what the display properties control. So if you come, you right click, you can see that we are on mean, but you can also choose deepest. For example, you will see the deepest surface. You can choose shallowest. You will see the shallowest surface. You can choose 95% confidence interval level. You can see all of it here. You see that the surfaces where we have zero, those are the best, where the best data is. You can decide to cut off the data with respect to whatever you want. So you can look at the count, that's the density, how many points per cell. You can also look at like the intensity. So for a moment, let us keep it to mean. Now bring back the track lines. So yeah, that's a little bit about some of the settings. So this adjustment, I think I spoke about. If you adjust anything on this, for example, let me just play around with this. I want to adjust the SVP. I'll say analyze, start. So it's trying to find if there is a best value for adjustment of SVP in order to use it. So it tells me that you can -1 to make it better. So I will say apply. Once I do that, I must come here and say realign. So I will say run because I changed something. So we are realigning. We are at 94%, 95%. Boom. We have done some realignment, and then we can come back here and say apply. Once you apply, you have something adjusted. So more or less, this is how you do your patch test calibration in Autopatch. It's automatic. The important button is this one, magical. And you can look at the tools from here. You can decide to go start auto clean directly with these lines in order to continue cleaning them or something like that. Then you have other tools like to auto feed height. For example, let me just remove these tracks. And if I come here to shallowest, you see that we still have some vertical offsets because our survey was not on RTK fix. So I can decide to try to adjust the heights by coming here to feed height. You see, it's looking a little bit better than before. So that's what that button does in auto clean. And I'll talk more about this and some filters. So you can go, you can see clean lines. You can try to clean lines a little bit. Let's remove some noise. Something like that. And auto fit. And if I come back to main, see that the surface is even better. So thank you very much and see you in the next video.